Zamolio bih vas da ugasite zvono na telefonima. Dobrodošli na konferenciju koju organizuje Srpska desnica zajedno sa partnerima iz Asocijacije za mir i slobodu. Oni će govoriti na engleskom jeziku koji verujem da svi ovde prisutni razumete. Sada ću vam pročitati spisak ko će se sve obratiti, a onda ću ih prozivati jednog po jednog. Znači, prvo će se obratiti Roberto Fiore, generalni sekretar Forza Nouve. Možemo ga pozdravimo. Zatim Nick Griffin, predsjednik hrišćanskog nacionalističkog pokreta Velike Britanije. Claus Cremer, šef međunarodnih odnosa Die Heimat, to je doskorašnji NPD, sad su promenili ime, Nemci. Yvan Benedetti, predsjednik partije francuskih nacionalista iz Francuske. Yanis Zorgafos, predsjednik partije Elesian, Grčka braća. Također Zois Bechlis iz druge grčke desničarske partije Kihma 21. Gonzalo Martin, on je podpredsjednik partije iz Španije, demokratskih nacionalista. I naš komšija, Rumun, Cristi, predstavnik partije Deputa Nova. Moja malenkost, ja sam moderator i kasnije zadnji izlagač, Miša Vacić, predsjednik Srpske desnice. Vaš domaćin. Pa da počnemo. The first who will speak is the President General Secretary of Forza Nouva, the strongest right-wing nationalist movement and party in Italy, my dear friend Roberto Fiore. Please.
Thank you, Misha. I think this is a very important occasion, and I take the opportunity to say that I speak as a General Secretary of Forza Nouva, but also as a President of the Alliance for Peace and Freedom, which is a European party that has put together many national parties in order to have a common European policy. And this is the best occasion. What is happening now in Serbia, it's happening at the heart of Europe. We know perfectly that there is also going on an incredible, important, extraordinary event between Ukraine and Russia. And we think that our position of bringing at all cost peace, stopping war, and at the same time stopping NATO influence is our first issue. But as far as Serbia is concerned, there is no really case to answer, in the sense that the position that we have on the so-called Kosovo crisis is very simple. Historically, geographically, politically, we think that that is Serbian land, and we think as well that the continuous provocation of the Skiptar Albanians minority has touched at the heart any peace process. You know perfectly that in Brussels there was a chance to sort out, at least temporarily, the situation, but this chance was rejected by the same Albanians or Kosovars, and they started provoking. We know as a fact that there have been arrests, there have been intimidation, violence and provocation. What should we do as Europeans? Very simple. Support the Serbian people in its request. The request is very simple, to get back to the land that it belongs to them, and also to stop any attempt to create division and war in Europe. If you think about it, the chronics and the events of the last few years show that that area has been the the area where ISIS and high criminal operation were put to place. So should we as Europeans accept this sort of thing, or should we instead pursue the idea of a Europe that starts from Portugal and reach to Siberia, to the eastern part of Russia, and belongs to everybody, to all these Christian nations from the west to the east, that have got a very clear Christian background, and I got to say, as a Roman, also a very strong Roman background. It's a fact I've learned in this period that Constantino was a Serbian. He was born here, like many emperors.
In 17 emperors.
17 emperors, and that shows the link, the eternal link between our people and the Serbian people. And this is something that is going to embrace all the rest of Europe. As you can hear in a minute, it's going to embrace all the other countries. So our support is going to be a vivid, strong, and very dynamic support. We don't want just to make statements. We want to be helpful as movements. When our help will be required, we'll be ready to come in these areas, to bring our solidarity, to bring peace, but to bring also the strength of the European people. Serbians are not going to be left alone. I have to say this with a bit of regret, because in the other historical event which took place at the end of the 90s, at beginning of 2000, maybe we are guilty to have left Serbia a bit alone. Okay, I remember our demonstrations in Italy. I'm sure others did a lot, but it wasn't enough. The powers that challenged and tried to strangle Serbia were very, very strong, and they managed to get results. But Serbian people are still alive, and this time they are not going to be let alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Roberto. We believe that your solidarity will be in the volunteers. Thank you. Now we'll talk President of the Christian Nationalist Movement from United Kingdom, but he's not English, he's Welshman. We Serbs, we love Welshmen, we don't like English people. My dear friend, he is also third time here, my guest. Roberto is 5 time in Belgrade, and Nick Griffin, my guest, is 3rd time. Big man, Nick Griffin.
Thank you, Misha. I am against war. I'm too old to fight myself in a normal war, but I have 9 grandsons. They're too young to fight at the moment, but one war generally leads to another war. So in principle, I'm against war. But I'm also against injustice. And the 1999 NATO bombing and forced partition of Serbia was the last great injustice of the last century. Forcing Christian Serbs to live under Islamist oppression is a great injustice, and it is time to liberate Kosovo. Can it be done? I would say yes, because the NATO that you face now, or will face, is very different to the NATO of 1999. Since then, there's been another 25 years of cuts and general liberal hostility to the armed forces. NATO is not capable of resisting a serious liberation attempt of Kosovo. I'll give you several examples from the British Army. It was announced just last week in the British Parliament that to field just 25,000 fighting men, properly equipped, would take the British Army 5 to 10 days? No. Weeks? No. Months? No. 5 to 10 years to field 25,000 fighting men is the best the British Army could do. They'd have tanks. Do you know how many serviceable tanks, main battle tanks, Britain has now? 40. 1/10 of the number that Serbia has. It was announced, because Britain has given all its heavy artillery ammunition to Ukraine, it was announced that Britain has no heavy artillery shells left. It doesn't actually matter, because Britain doesn't have any heavy artillery guns, because they've all been given to Serbia, and heavy artillery.
To Ukraine.
Sorry, to Ukraine. Sorry. yes, it's a wish in my heart. Now, the RAF, which of course would be your real problem, is not in such a bad state, because it's the force that Britain has used with America to brutalize parts of the world. They've kept it in something like good order. But an example to show how the RAF is also rotten and weak, they're basically now incapable of training new pilots because the engines of the training planes are dead, useless, out of date. There was a survey of all the personnel of the Royal Air Force last week, which found that only 18%, less than 1 in 5, of Britain's RAF men and women have confidence in their leadership. This is a crisis of morale. The leadership is obsessed not with winning wars, not with fighting wars, but with woke targets. They're determined to have 40%, the whole Royal Air Force will be 40% women and 20% ethnic minorities by 2030. It's all they're interested in. Germany, France, Sweden, Holland, the United States have all said basically they've given so much ammunition to Ukraine, they have nothing left. The only nation within generally the Western alliance which has enough ammunition to fight a proper war is South Korea. Some of their shells have been given to Ukraine, but they're being kept because of Taiwan. And this is the thing. There's a big split at the top of the Western alliance. There's a magazine, Foreign Affairs, which is the flagship magazine of the Rockefeller Council for Foreign Relations, which just the other week had a headline, "Do not let Ukraine join NATO." That's from the very top of the West. Why? Not a matter of principle, not because they've suddenly realized that NATO is wrong in what it's doing in Ukraine, but because they realize that NATO is overstretched already. And a large part of the Western elite now sees what they've done in Ukraine as a dangerous distraction, because they can't fight Russia, which is what they're doing in Ukraine, and confront China, which is what they really want to do. So, in their minds, a war in Serbia wouldn't be a second front, it would be a third front. There's the war going on in Ukraine, there's the war that they believe they're going to have to fight against China. They don't want a third front. There's no possibility of it. NATO is radically overstretched. It's a crisis for NATO, and NATO's crisis is Serbia's opportunity. So, if Serbia moves to liberate Kosmet, NATO and the European Union, they'll whine and they'll bitch and they'll impose sanctions, but they will not go to war. So the time to liberate Kosmet is now. The old slogan, which has been for a long time a dream, will become a reality. Kosovo is Serbia. Thank you.
Thank you, dear friend. I think also that it's now the time for liberation. Svi ste razumeli oba ova govornika, a? Mislim, ljudi pričaju iz srca to što pričaju na engleskom. Srbima je lako razumeti kad nam neko prenosi podrške i poziv da se mi prevashodno borimo za sebe, pa će se i oni s nama boriti za nas. Sljedeći govornik je, verovali ili ne, Nemac koji će pozivati da Srbi oslobode Kosovo. Moj dobri prijatelj isto već drugi put sada u Beogradu, Claus Cremer iz otadžbine, ili ti Die Heimat na nemačkom. Njihove najdesnije partije koja je bila jedina otvoreno protiv bombardovanja Srbije i koja je svo vreme trajanja u Bundestagu, u parlamentu Nemačke, imala makar jedan glas da glasa uvek protiv i sankcija Republici Srpskoj 1995. i bombardovanja Srpske i Srbije, tako da pravi srpski prijatelji među Nemcima, što je retkost. Meine liebe Freund, bitte.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Claus Cremer, and like Misa said, I'm a representative of the German Freedom Party, Die Heimat, formerly known as MPD. It is already my second stay here in Belgrade, and I want to thank the organizers for the invitation. In Germany, we take a very close look at the situation here in Serbia, and of course also at the situation in the occupied Kosovo. We Germans know very well what it is like to lose part of one's fatherland, for example Prussia, and we feel reminded of our own situation when we have to see how people are harassed and terrorized in their homelands. We also have to take note of the fact that Islamist forces are trying to establish themselves in Kosovo, which would prefer to expel the local population. For this reason, German nationalists stand on the side of the Serbian people and can also be clearly understood here. Home is a human right. Serbia belongs to Kosovo, Kosovo belongs to Serbia.
Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Next is Yvan Benedetti, president of French Nationalist. He come from France, where everything is now burned. They have own Kosovo now in Paris. Please, Yvan.
First, I want to thank Misha Vasic and the Serbian right movement with his activists to invited us. I want to say that the French not denied remember the old alliance between French and Serbian. We don't forget that there is a big monument in Belgrade for France and for the French. And you know the position of the government, French government, is not a French position. It's these people have got a French passport, but they are they have the oligarchy, mondial oligarchy nationality. So after that, as you see, you can hear that my English is very bad. So what I wanted to say will be simple. What happened in France last week was terrible. Terrible because we had 700 policemen injured. We had 1,000 of shop was burned. 1,000 of car was burned. The riots was terrible. And we said as patriots that what happened, we can expect that it happened, because it is the consequence of 70 years of immigration. First, an immigration of works, and after 1974, with the familial regroupment, an immigration of colonization. And what happened in Kosovo is happening now in France. They people which come from another land say this, your land is not your land anymore. It's our land. And we can't accept these things. So what happened in Kosovo yesterday, when they voted, when they stole your land, happened now in Ukraine, and will happen tomorrow in France and in all our country in Europe, because in background you've got this alliance called NATO, who is not only a military alliance, it's a military alliance with a political project. And the project is to destroy all the old nations which are protect society, to make open society like the project of Soros, the family of Soros, and to steal all the riches of the country, of our country, and give the riches to all these mondial firms who's called McKinsey, who's called BlackRock, who's called Pfizer. So they use conflict, they use chauvinism, they use separatism, they use a religion's war to make this project. And it's why we are against this project. It's why we are against the war. It's why we want that NATO get out of Europe. It's clear, clear. So, you know, Kosovo is in the heart of all the free European because it's justice. But it's not only justice, it's politics. We have to stand up and defend Kosovo with you because it depends of the avenir of Europe. So we are here to say stop war. We are here to say NATO goes home. We are here to say Kosovo is Serbia. Serbia. And if today we hear in Europe the sounds of the war, the sound of the weapon, we know, because we will fight together, that tomorrow we will hear the sound of blackbird. So, viva Serbia, qui vive France, vive Europe, viva Europa.
Merci beaucoup, Yvan. Next is our south neighbor, our Orthodox brothers. Yanis, the boat of Greeks actually was from Golden Dawn, but Golden Dawn is banned and they are now in separate right-wing parties. Znači, svi su oni bili Zlatna Zora koju je država tamo zabranila ko mafijašku terorističku organizaciju i sad se bore kroz odvojene desničarske partije i zato imamo dva grčka pokreta koja su, dve grčke partije koje su ovdje došle, koje će sarađivati. Izvolite. Bili su nekad najjači nacionalisti, onda su ih slomili globalisti, ali nema predaje. I give a little bit enter. Yanis, please.
Dear Misha and the hospital delegation of Serbia, dear friends. The political contest of this Congress is in Belgrade comes in a very crucial moment about Kosovo. No one can really predict what is going to happen from hour to hour, but the sure thing is that NATO, and I agree with Mr. Griffin, NATO cannot handle another defeat after the war in Ukraine, that it will end up as a victory for Russia, not only for the Russians, but also for all the people that think freely throughout the world. As the closest nation to Serbia, our political party believes that Kosovo is Serbia the same way that Macedonia is Greece. The cradle of Serbia nation was born in this territory, so Serbia, which has the majority of the population there, together with the life tokens of its civilization, that is churches, monasteries and monuments, cannot be deprived of the right to exercise its sovereignty. You know, my first visit in Serbia was during the war of 1999, where the cowardice attack of NATO, USA and the Allies took place. What I saw then was a decided nation, a people made of steel with morale and stamina who could defeat any intruder. Today Serbia, although in the center of Europe, made the right choice not to enter the European Union, but even better, to strengthen its bonds with Russia. Unlike Greece, that remains a protectorate, or even worse, a NATO puppet that loses every diplomatic battle in favor of the allies, Macedonia, Cyprus, territorial waters, and so on. So Kosovo is a rogue state that was created by the big powers, as you know, which is NATO, US, and backed by the common culprits, which is Albania and Turkey. So their interests is in the heart of Europe should not be met, and the Serbs should prevail. The EU, after the proxy war of Ukraine, does not want to participate into another lethal conflict, but this anyway will not happen because I am sure that the Serbs, the Serbian armed forces, will clear the battlefield in a couple of days, as we should have done with the fake nation of Northern Macedonia, as you know, 2 decades ago. So we patriots favor peace and negotiations, but unlike the liberal and socialists, we do not succumb to pressures of interests other than the interests of our own nation. If war is what is needed to protect our country, we will not avoid war, we will not back up. The Latins used to say, as the ancient Greeks, se vis pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. The Serbians are well prepared for both scenarios, and we are sure that they will do their best for the interest of their nation. Kosovo is Serbia.
Evharisto. Another Greek brother, please.
Okay, first of all, I have to make clear that we are a new party. We are Κίνημα 21, Movement 21. Second, I'll speak by heart, and I'll be laconic. Serbia was bombed. They tried to humiliate the Serbian people. They made embargo against them. And after all, Serbia is alive. I'm happy that I'm here in a free country. Serbia is not protectorate. And now, NATO, which is the head of evil, trying to use an unexistent matter, Kosovo. They are using the Albanians. Also, they are using Albanians as a head of Islam. This is, of course, against all Europeans. NATO is acting against Europe, against Christianity, against our countries, our families. It's not only a political matter, it's a matter of survival. Past years, when Serbia was fighting against the evil, a lot of Greeks come here as volunteers. Greeks, we believe that Serbians are brothers for us. Also, we believe that all the Europeans, the Christian Europeans, are related between each other. The same thing is going to happen now. If they'll try to use Kosovo, which is the heart of Serbia, which is a secret place for Serbia, it's like Parthenon for us. What is Parthenon for Greece is Kosovo for Serbia. And all this, they are trying to destroy it. If this is going to happen, then again, Greeks are going to come here to fight at the side of Serbians. I believe that this is going to happen. And all Greeks, we have to prepare about this. Not our government. Greece is a protectorate. But Greek people are still free in their hearts. And our heart is the same with the heart of Serbians. We love Serbian people because we fought together against the Ottomans. We belong at the past at the Byzantine Empire. We are the same. We have the same mentality. And this is something that we have to protect it. Of course, Kosovo is Serbia, and will remain Serbia, even if we have to fight for this. Next time, all of Europeans must fight together. And this will happen. Thanks.
Zois je inače komandir u penziji bojnog broda Grčke mornarice i bio je sa onim Grkom koji je odbio NATO bombardovanje. Lični su prijatelji, juče smo ga izvali na telefon, tako da nije nemoguće da možda dogodine nam bude i taj Grk gost. Ima ratno iskustvo i zato kaže doćemo da se borimo, nije prazna priča. I tell that you are a Navy commander, warship and everything. Now, one nation who had the same problem as we, who was occupied from Islam invader, but with one project, national fight, who called Reconquista. Španci su oslobodili svoje poluostrvo upravo sa jednim pojmom rekonkviste, znači gde su se svi Španci, bez obzira na razlike, ujedinili u borbi da proteraju muslimane i to je zapravo neki recept koji mi treba da učinimo po pitanju Kosova, srpska rekonkvista. Gonzalo Martin, potpredsednik Demokratskih nacionalista Španije.
Hello everybody. First of all, I'm very proud and happy to be here with all of you. Today is an important day for my party because it's the National Congress, so the new leadership will be elected. But I decided to be here today because I know how important it is to show the support to Serbian people and the fight of Serbian people for Kosovo. As you know, I come from Spain. Spain and Spaniards, we feel identified with Serbs. The process that they are trying to do in Spain for dismantling the Spanish state and the Spanish nation, we call it Balkanization in Spain. So we feel identified what is happening in Serbia, what happened before and what is happening now. I don't know if you know it, but in the north of Africa, we have two cities that belong to Spain since more than 500 years. And those two cities, they were populated by Spaniards till the death of Franco. After the death of Franco, thousands and thousands of immigrants from Morocco, they came and occupied our land, the same like happened with Kosovo, with the Albanian immigrants. So we are suffering now in Ceuta and Melilla a totally supplantation of the Spanish native people. And we can talk now that in Melilla, maybe 90% of population, they are not Spanish anymore. In Ceuta, maybe 70%. So we identify the problem of Kosovo as our problem, because we know in the future we will have also to fight. We will have also to fight for our land. And although Spain is member of the NATO, in the agreement of Spain with the NATO, it is not included the protection of the Spanish cities in Africa. So this is our good friends from America and NATO. They are doing military exercises in Morocco together with Israel last year, for example, because they are preparing probably in the future an invasion, and Spain will be alone, as they wanted that Serbia is alone for Kosovo. So that's why we identify with Serbia. We had also our battle, like you, in the 1389 against the Ottomans. We have our battle in 711 against the Muslims that invaded Spain. And as you know, they occupied part of our land for 800 years. So we feel really identified with Serbia in the fight for not only for Serbia or Spain, in the fight for Europe. So for us, Serbia probably is the last free land in Europe that it doesn't belong to any kind of alliance. You are alone, but you are proud. You are fighting for your freedom. You are fighting for your land, for your borders. And it's a good example for all of us. So you will find in the Spanish nationalists all the support, because Kosovo is Serbia, as Catalonia is Spain, as Ceuta and Melilla is Spain. and we have the right to fight for our land, and you will have always by your side the Spanish comrades. Kosovo is Serbia.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Now, our neighbor from East, Romania, party Noua Dreapta.
Thank you for invitation. I'm sorry for the delay. Okay, I'm here to support Serbia and to reconquist Kosovo, and I will read a message for my president for Noua Dreapta, Tudor. Hello, comrades. I'm honored to be here in Belgrade and take part in the APF Congress. On behalf of Noua Dreapta, I bring you a warm salute of President Tudor and Cristi Grigoras, foreign relations responsible, who both are an objective impossibility to join us this day. I am here to show our support for this continuous fight that we carry together, building a wall in front of the many threats that openly destroy our Europe and just lurk in the shadows. As a Christian hero, Miloš Obilić once made a sacrifice to preserve our fight and tradition more than 6 centuries ago. This fight got support from Romania's modern heroes, and today it's called for our courage once again to protect our common values. Our meeting is the strongest example that Europeans want, and more than this, Orthodox brothers should stand side by side, not against each other, and building and protecting the vast number of common values. It is a must for all of us. This is the message. So I want to say only Kosovo was Serbia, it's Serbia, and will be Serbia. Thank you.
Thank you. Jedini susedi s kojima nikada nismo ratovali, Rumuniji. Sada želim, pošto vidim u publici pored novinara i još jednu sortu ljudi koji su imali jedno posebno zanimanje, da ih pozdravim i da im se zahvalim. Među nama imamo i veterane, konkretno borac Košara, Pope Ustani. Za razliku od raznih takozvanih boraca s Košara, on je pravi borac tokom trajanja borbi i došao je ovde da čuje ove naše prijatelje iz Evrope i vidi kako nisu sami, da njegova borba na Košarama nije uzaludna. Hvala ti. Košare žive i vaša borba živi i nastavlja se. A takođe vidim i jednog diverzanta iz Krajine i Bosne. Nema veze, kapetan Goran Gordić, taj je više uniforma promenio u ono iza neprijateljskih linija nego Marinika Tepić partija. Tako da on je bukvalno bio ono, ko zna, onaj 21. krajiški diverzantski odred, taj ima ustaša na sebi baš puno. Veliki junak. Žao mi je što je izašao, ali vidio sam ga da je bio tu. Takođe i predsjednik zajednice veterana Srbije tu sa nama, tako da Marko Martinović. Drago mi je da su srpski veterani sa svih ratišta, pogotovo Košare, jer je ovde tema Kosovo. Mada i u Krajini imamo dalmatinsko Kosovo. Kosovo je nešto što je u DNK svih Srba i Srbi, i kad se bore danas u Novorusiji, oni se bore zapravo sa mislima da jednog dana će zajedno sa ruskom braćom osloboditi i Kosovo. Jer Kosovo je naš i početak i trajanje i bit će naš kraj. Tako da borba neprestana. Posle svega što su oni rekli, ja ne bi mnogo vremena vam oduzimo da bi imali i za pitanja novinara ako postoje. Hoću samo da kažem da mi kao srpska desnica smo uvek izjavljivali, i to sad ponavljam, da onog trenutka kada država krene sa svojim trupama, s našim srpskim snagama bezbednosti, da štiti narod na Kosovu, da ću pozvati tada sve svoje pristalice, članove, uopšte sve srpske rodoljube da se stavimo na raspolaganje državi, da budemo dobrovoljci, da odemo na Kosovo, da budemo prvi u tome ispred svih drugih, baš kako bi mogli da damo primer. A vidim da nećemo biti sami. Iz razgovora s ovim prijateljima postoje ozbiljna uveravanja da kao što su onda u Bosni i na Kosovu smo imali i ruske i grčke dobrovoljce, imati sada iz mnogih drugih država. Hoću da vam navedem primer, svi ga dobro znate, Škot iz Severne Irske, Jim Dawson, koji nije sada mogao da dođe, trebao je, ali ni Griffin može da posvedoči, jer ima problem s mozgom. Ne može da leti zbog pritiska krvnih sudova. I onda mi je poslao 2 dana pred ovaj skup, kaže, nažalost, Mišo, iz medicinskih razloga ne mogu da letim, ali ako krene rat, ja ću džipom da dođem iz Irske na Kosovo. Tako da to govori o rešenosti evropskih desničara, da nismo sami, a mi prvo treba da sami stanemo u svoju državu ukoliko ona stane u svoj narod. Ako narod pokuša sam da se brani, također ćemo stati uz njega i pružiti mu podršku i učestvovati i bez države. Znači sve jedno da li počeo narod na Kosovu sam da pruža otpor ili država da ga štiti, mi smo ti koji će biti prvi sljedeći u odbrani Kosova i uspećemo, jer Bog to želi. Hvala vam svima. Thank you, my dear guests. I say that we are not alone, that we have you and you have us. Not Europe Union, Europe of nation, of free sovereign nation, Europa nazione. I naravno, Kosovo je Srbija, ako ne misli tako, tek će se upoznati sa realnim stanjem na terenu, koje je vrlo promenljivo. Znaš, pošto oni nas stalno pozivaju na neku prihvatanje realnosti i oni će imati mogućnost, kao u Kabulu izdajnici, što su imali mogućnost da prihvate novu realnost pa se hvatali za točkove aviona. Mislim da će prištinski aerodrom biti mali da primi sve saradnike američkih okupatora. Živela Srbija i izvolite pitanja novinara. Živela Srbija!
Igor Marinković, portal Pravda. Prvo pitanje je zašto na skupu nema predstavnika iz Rusije, a znamo da srpska desnica sarađuje sa brojnim organizacijama, političkim i pokretima u Rusiji. I drugo pitanje je vezano za izjavu gosta Janisa oko izjave Kosovo je Srbija, a Makedonija je Grčka. Eto, i da se izjasnite, evo iza njega, after if you can explain that what you say, Kosovo je Srbija and Makedonija is Greece. To explain that other part statement. I hear even in audience, not all people agree totally with that. What you say?
You do not agree about the geographically or politically? Because geographically, Macedonia, as you know, has always been Greek. You should know that there is no one piece of evidence that Macedonia was Slavic in any of its ancient history. The excavations have revealed only Greek sculptures, only Greek letters. So that proves that Macedonia has always been Greek. Now, the political issue is another thing. And of course, you should remember of Kiro Gligorov, who was the first president of FEROM, who said to the whole community, to the international community, that we are Slavs and we have nothing to do with the Greeks. This happened in around 1980 something, if I remember well. And this is the most timid, but also the most pragmatical declaration that has been made from a former president of what is called today Macedonia. That's our beliefs.
We don't need to think everything same. We think that Thessaloniki is also Serbian city, but first we must look our common enemy, Albanians. And I think when we divided Albania, we'll be later talk about Macedonia. We are brothers and we can divide it.
And of course, you should also remember that your President Milosevic in 1995 has proposed to former Prime Minister of Greece, Konstantinos Mitsotakis, to
Alliance, yes.
Alliance, but to share Macedonia.
Yes, to divide between.
To divide Macedonia.
He says that the agreement from around 100 years before or earlier was an agreement and about monastery. Today, monastery. What's the name of monastery today? Bitola. That's exactly. So was an agreement that Greece will give monastery to the new country, and this new country does not exist anymore, and means Greece has right to take back monastery. That is exactly that he says, not to share monastery.
That's better.
Okay. Second question, why not Russians here? Pričat ću na srpskom. Znači, Ruse nisam ni zvao zato što je ovdje bio akcenat na podršku od zapadnih Evropljana, jer svi znaju da Rusi su na našoj strani. Svaki dan ko prati stanje na frontu u Donjecku može da vidi kako predstavnici ruskih jedinica govore: kad završimo kod nas, prelazimo, braćo, kod vas, spremite se, Kosovo je sledeće. To je jedna stvar. Druga stvar, nisam hteo da zovem Ruse jer smatram da bi bilo nepatriotski da u trenutku kada je njihova zemlja u ratu oni dolaze ovde da se švrćkaju po Beogradu kao što njihovi liberali rade koji su pobegli od mobilizacije. Rusi treba da se bore na frontu, da budu snažno u svoje jedinice, da završe tu specijalnu operaciju tako što će osloboditi i ruske gradove Odesu i Harkov i izbiti lepo na rusku reku Dnjepar, izbiti na deltu Dunava, a kad oni dođu do delte Dunava, onda nama sviće jedno drugo sunce slobode sa istoka, tada će se sve promeniti ovde u Srbiji. Bukvalno imat ćemo te scene i po Beogradu da beže i hvataju se za točkove aviona. Znači, razvoj toga zavisi samo od brzine dolaska ruskih tenkova do delte Dunava, ništa drugo. Tako da nema potrebe da budu na konferenciji, oni su na frontu, a u ovim zemljama je mir i zato iz ovih zemalja gde je mir su nam neophodna i politička podrška, ali i spremnost da sutra oni organizuju, njihovi desničari, svoje mlade, hrabre ljude da budu dobrovoljci. Jer imamo situaciju da postoje mnogi zapadnoevropski dobrovoljci u Donbasu, i Italijani, i drugih naroda, Francuzi, volunteers in Donbass also. Pa ako mogu da ratuju tamo, mogu da ratuju i kod nas. Svi su nam danas prijatelji koji dele sistem vrednosti koji delimo i mi. Ne treba biti u nikakvim okovima da neko ako dolazi iz određene države čija vlast je neprijateljska prema nama, da ne znači da u toj državi nema naroda koji je i tekako pro-srpski opredeljen. To je zapravo na strani istine, na strani pravde, jer mi nismo na strani Rusa zato što volimo Ruse, a oni rade nešto loše. Ne, nego mi smo na strani Rusa zato što je to strana pravde, a pride ih i volimo. Znači, isto tako je suština zašto su ovi evropski nacionalisti na strani nas, zato što mi radimo nešto ispravno. Ispravno je osloboditi srpsko Kosovo, ispravno je odbraniti naš narod, ispravno je odbraniti i ruski narod u Donbasu, tako da na strani pravde će biti uvek svi pravdoljubivi ljudi i Evrope i celog sveta. Ja sam uveren da može da se napravi konferencija u budućnosti sa latinoameričkim državama i afričkim državama, da bi njihove nacionaliste mogo da umrežim i da pokažemo da imamo jednu globalnu podršku iz Latinske Amerike, Afrike u borbi za našu srpsku stvar, jer svi imamo zajedničkog neprijatelja, to je neoliberalni koncept od LGBT ideologije preko vakcinašenja i svih ostalih zala koje dolaze iz Vašingtona i Brisela, tako da mi imamo različite zastave i različite grbove, ali istog protivnika, i to je ono što nas ujedinjuje, da odbranimo koncept koji svi ovi ljudi ovde imaju, a to je koncept Bog, porodica, otadžbina. Hvala vam, jer ima još neko pitanje. Ako nema pitanja, onda ovi mogu da zaključim konferenciju i da vam se zahvalim. Nobody have nothing to ask more. I make end of media conference. I want to say one more time, thank you to you. We have all different coat of arms and flags, but we have one common enemy, the LGBT ideologic, vaccinated and invasion of traders, of foreigners from outside of our continent, and what is unite us, our same system of values, God, family and Vaterland. Živela Srbija, živela Evropa, ali Evropa nacija. Hvala.